Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to lecture number 8, Literature Review, Part 1. Today we will study about the understanding of the process of the literature review. Let's recap from the last lecture. We discussed about the abstract, how to write an abstract for a research paper and the technical or business report. And we discussed about the ingredients of the abstract. A good abstract may consist of 5 to 6 lines where each line serves a purpose. For example, what is the purpose of the study? What is the problem statement? What was the approach used to solve that problem? What were the results? And finally, the findings and the conclusion. And it was also emphasized that you should try to turn your ideas into abstract, writing a draft of abstract. The benefit of this approach can be seen like if you try to write a draft and abstract based on these points, you will be having a very clear idea about, for example, what kind of what is the motivation that you are going to take for your idea. And then you can discuss with some seniors or professors about your idea, and you can write down the problem statement, and then you can discuss. You might have some idea about the approach, so you can discuss further the approach. This is what you're gonna do with your problem, and you can have some feedback from your seniors or professors about the approach, whether this will be useful or one or not. And then you might envision some expected results or the targeted results that you're going to improve. This may be about the power reduction or the power consumption efficiency of something. So you might have some target results that you can target for your whole idea, and of course the findings and the conclusions. These are all your target results. So drafting an idea helps you to individually get some input from the seniors, and also it helps you in the next step, which is the topic of today, the literature review. So if you have a rough idea about what do you want to do or what kind of work is you want to take, so the next thing is about the literature review. So today we in the what I have decided is the literature review. We will have 3 lectures, 3 videos, and the outcome of all the 3 will be comprised that in the end you will be able to conduct a good literature review. This may be for your final year project, this may be a research paper or a kind of a technical report that your professor may ask you. And we will learn about what are the how to make a search and filter the required literature, and how to organize whatever you have produced as a review. And we will also learn the process. By the end of this lecture, you will understand the literature review process. It's basically there is a topic given to you or your idea. You will go and search some, you will select some literature, you filter it out, then you have to read out, you have to write, and then you will cite whatever work you have. For citing, we will have the next video separately discussing about how to cite the work that you read. This will end and a very important step, which is annotated bibliography. This is very important step, and if anyone while writing a literature review, if they skip this annotated bibliographic step, it is difficult to end up with a very good literature review. So our target of like our first and second video lectures till here will be that you should be able to produce an annotated bibliography of your topic. After that, the third video will be about the writing process, in which we convert the annotated summaries to a literature review. And finally, this is the target that is the literature review, and this is the whole process of the literature review. So the content today is what the literature review is, and especially focusing on the defining the what exactly the literature review, the review means in the literature review, and of course why should I bother or when should we do the literature review. We will explore those areas, and after having this, why to organize and how to organize the literature review, some motivating examples, and then we will see the starting the writing process. We will explore how to write. We will start discussing about the annotated bibliography, and later on we will see the literature review. So what is a literature review? So it's better before that we should figure it out what it is not. Literature review is not your work. It is not your work. It is not your research paper, and also it is not just a summary of the broad and unrelated sources. And it is also not the compilation of everything on the same topic. So what literature review is? A literature review is basically a complete integrated analysis, and which highlights the major work done, and it is basically on some kind of focused topic. We will see what does it mean that you have reviewed. Next we will discuss about what the review means here. A review basically in literature review means it's like taking a snapshots, capturing the very important things in the paper, for example, and what are the major concepts and how they are related, maybe with your topic or within the paper presented. So there are some relationships, we have to figure it out, and this is all we have to put it on a proper timeline. So in review, it's not just reading, it's about capturing the important things related to your topic, the major concepts, the relationships, and over the timeline. Why should and when should we do literature review? We will discuss this thing later on, even in the second slides. But here there is a purpose of whenever we do a literature review. It may be, for example, you think about working in IoT, so you want to improve your understanding, so you should go back and study about the work done by others, and after that you have to demonstrate some knowledge about in some area, so you have to go back and figure it out, learn and demonstrate your knowledge. And also it may be your professor or advisor who want you to get some updated the research or knowledge. So sometimes it is like updating the reader. I may ask you, for example, okay, I want to do some research on cybersecurity for the IoT. So go and figure it out and develop a small literature review. So you, for me, as for the reader, you may go and figure out what is the current state of the knowledge is. Literature review is basically for someone. So here we can depict that you might have an old friend, and after years you met together, and now he is asking about you. Okay, bring me up to date. So you have to tell everything happened to you to update your friend. So your friend in case of literature review can be your professor, this can be your advisor, this can be yourself. So actually for the literature review there is someone you are actually writing for. So you have to fulfill the needs as provided, requested by either your professor, your advisor, or it may be your own self. So literature review is for your friend. Whatever you do, if you don't organize it well, so if you don't organize your literature review well, it is worthless literature review. We will see some organizations for the literature review. For example, the one is chronological way, and the other one is the advancements. With respect to advancement, it may be based on geography, or it may be based on the questions being asked. So whatever you do, these all can be categorized in chronological order. So this is the first one in chronological order. For example, about the history of the batteries. So history of the batteries, currently we are having some, for example, lithium-ion batteries current days, and you go back and you have a dated history of the batteries from Baghdad batteries 250 BCE up to the current age battery. This is another picture showing, for example, 10 or 15 sources in which you started from the very basics. In 1748, Benjamin Franklin first coined the term battery, and then you went through all of these dates till 1990, 2092, 2001, and this is up to 2010. So this picture shows in a chronological order the development of the battery or the history of the battery. From this link you can further explore the details. This is another chronological order of the research done on especially light. Different researchers, scientists, for example Aristotle, Ibn al-Haytham, and Newton, and Huygens and Maxwell, Einstein, Young, in different times, what they were doing, what they have done in related to the light. So you put them here, and then with this picture you can depict in chronological order, okay, and then you can also add in written, you can add like a literature review paragraph. And for example, Aristotle, he was talking about the essence of the light is white light. Colors are made up of a mixture of lightness and darkness. Next comes the Ibn al-Haytham, who was curious about the why does the moon appear larger near the horizon than it does when higher up in the sky. And then Newton discovered that light is comprised of colored particles. The light is wave in 1695 by Huygens, and Maxwell theory, Young proof of the wave theory of the light, and then the Maxwell who predicted the existence of the electromagnetic waves, and Einstein said the light is a photon. So this is a sequence of in date wise, in chronological order, the research done or discoveries made by the scientists on light. This is another chronological example in which the development of the light bulb, 1879 Edison's light bulb, and till here LED till 2010 white LED exceeds 150 lumens per watt. So this is another way of putting the things. Of course there will be paragraphs to support this literature review. I took this from the following reference: Solid State Lighting Review by Almeida in 2014. Another way is advancements. In terms of advancements, you can categorize, for example, Industrial Revolution number 1, first Industrial Revolution based on the steam power, then the second Industrial Revolution based on the electrical energy and the mass production mechanisms, then the third Industrial Revolution, which is based on IT and for example the PLCs and microcomputers, and then the fourth current era of the fourth Industrial Revolution, in which we are dealing with we are turning into systems into the cyber physical systems, and the degree of complexity has increased. So this is based on the advancements. And then another one based on the advancements, the development on the lithium-ion battery. So this is generation 0 generation, using the old lithium metal, then generation 1 using the carbon anode, then the generation 2 using the silicon composite anode, and then generation number 3 where thin lithium metal is being used. So based on advancements, you are putting them in, you are presenting from initially it was generation 0 was quite dangerous to this level of safest lithium-ion batteries. So this is another way of showing the developments or arranging the development in the literature review based on the advancements. Another way, in 2018, what were the different disruptive battery technologies in research: proton batteries, saltwater batteries, and all others. So this is another way of with this categorizing or organizing the literature in terms of the advancements. This is another way in terms of advancements, and here the emphasis is on development and the commercialization. The gray area is the development of the technology, and the rest one is the commercialized. And you can observe that there are the development for different type of technologies. For example, the electric lighting here is different. So here the high pressure sodium lamp, this is the development time, and then we have commercializing time. While the induction lamp here, it took so long, the development time, and then we have a small commercial. This is another way of putting the things in perspective. Then here comes the geographical way. For example, if we are interested in the carbon dioxide emission from 1970 up to 2018 for different countries. So, for example, let's take China and USA. So, the USA in 1970 is here, and while China in 1970 is around here. So, China is here, and the USA is here, quite high. But USA has maintained a regulatory, it is not increasing. But China, if you see, China has increased like this. So the carbon emission, and now China is alone contributing carbon dioxide equivalent to all other countries. So this is another way of geographically putting and studying things in perspective. In literature review, producing this kind of pictures, graphs are very important, and this is very important skill. Okay, now and we can study this carbon dioxide emission in every country. So this is the collective one, but in every region, in every country, the factors may be different. So on the next slide, we see there are around 5 factors which are contributing to the carbon dioxide emission. So in China, for example, the power industry here has over this period from 2017 to 1990, the contribution was increased around 597%, 594% increased, while the power industry in USA has it's somehow regulated. It's only plus 2%. While there are these 3 areas, buildings, others, combustion, and other sectors in USA, which have regulated and actually reduced the carbon emissions, and that's why we are having green arrows here. So here on the next page, this one, you can go for the complete report here. You see how the China and USA, so this is a comparative study based on the geographical location about the carbon emission. So this is another way. Of course, there will be some paragraphs or complete literature review. The report, you can find it here, but showing your collective results in literature review and turning them into a nice picture like this one, and tables and calculations, is the real benefit and the objective of a good literature review. Another one is questions. So there might be few questions that you are looking to answer, that you will look to answer. For example, how to make batteries less expensive batteries, and the batteries which can store more energy, the safer batteries, and batteries for renewable grids. For related to your our current status about the online learning, so I figured out a literature review as an example that discusses about the online learning, and to find some some answers to the questions. So the literature review that we are going to see in the next slides as an example are few questions about the online learning, and they have done some kind of research. So there are 5 key questions about the state of the online learning. It was done in 2017, and you can find the detail from this resource. So the question number 1 is online learning growing, or has it reached a plateau? And so there will be a small paragraph initially, and then we have the question, and then we have the complete answer to that question. And while you are doing the answer, you will highlight, you will be using some references, like reference number 1. So reference 1 is used in answering this question, then, and also the question and reference number 2. And then we have question number another question, and the answer about that question is here next to it, by using the references number 3 and references number 4. And this is the further another question one. Do we still have issues with the quality in the online learning? The answer to this one. And then where is the technology taking online learning? And then the answer to this one. And finally, this is the whole bunch of references which are used to answer those 5 questions. So these are the references being used by this person. You can go on this link to find out more about it, how to write literature review based on the questions. Now let's move to the writing process for the literature review. The first thing is you need to collect the resources, the research papers or the reports, and it's better to use some kind of a citation manager. These are the softwares which actually manage your citations. There are some softwares, Zotero, RefWork, Mendeley, EndNote, and so I encourage you to try and make yourself comfortable with any of these. Then you have to collect, and you have to go through the databases, academic databases. You should use reliable websites. It's very important. Online journals. And for example, if you are required to make your literature review based on like 20 sources, you should go and find and collect 40, because in the next filtering you will drop some of them, and you have to find out the best 20 out of the scanning. The second thing is analyze. Analyze doesn't mean read, it is an analysis. So go through the abstract, the headings, whatever you have collected, subheadings, the figures and the tables, references, conclusions. After this scanning, your mind will start working and you will have an idea. So ask yourself, is it useful for your topic or not? And while you are scanning, this question will help you, and you will start rejecting or accepting. And after the careful selection of for the critical reading, you go and you do again a scanning, and then you start zooming in for the details, and let your mind to work to find out some relationships or the patterns. So basically this is analysis, and you will develop this analysis. Everyone develops it by itself, but you have to do this. This is not reading, this is analysis. So you go through it in a step by step. You go through it, abstracts, headings, subheadings, captions, tables, and you keep asking yourself whether whenever you study something, you ask yourself whether this is good or not, if this is good or not. And while you find something very interesting, important, you zoom in and you look for the details, and you keep asking, and then you keep selecting or rejecting, and finally you will have some idea or pattern in your mind. The next thing comes is arrangement. So while you are analyzing, you are actually doing a critical analysis. It's like you have the data and you are analyzing the data, and you will have a complete big picture of what you are studying. Then you have to arrange the information with respect to the patterns. Now think about, either you are working for to answer the questions, or you are looking for the knowledge building in chronological order, whatever it is, and then you arrange your work with respect to the problem and problem, challenge, and solution. This is very important because ultimately you are going to work for, you are going to have narrow down some specific problem, its specific challenges, and the specific solutions. So this is also important, that after reviewing all the 10 sources, 10 or 20 sources that you are studying, maybe 6 may be for the solution, and 4, for example, may be talking about the problem, or a combination of them, or a challenge. So after that, you now, once we have a good idea about, and we have an arrangement, now you are well aware of what you have collected, and now you are ready to write an annotated summary. So finally, so this we will discuss in the next video, part 2 of literature review. Now, as a final remarks, see, literature review is basically appreciating work done by the others. This is very important. Before you speak something, you have to listen, you have to read other works, and do it carefully, because it is very helpful thing. You have to, don't ignore it, please don't ignore it. This is very helpful. And a good literature review, it will give you, if you are able to do good literature reviews, it will increase your confidence level in that topic. And be careful, very careful. If you neglect literature review, it can be very dangerous, especially when you are presenting in front of field experts. So this may be very may become very dangerous in the end. And finally, if without literature review, with all my experience, I can say that without good literature review, if someone your work will be only appreciated by a layman. Okay, so with this I will end this lecture, and I will encourage you to get ready for the next lecture, and thank you very much.